Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Mappy Hour. Looks like let me get a few more folks in from the waiting room. There we go. Okay. Sorry for the bit of delay. We're having a little technical issues here. Judy, there you are. So, welcome everybody to Mappy Hour. This is our happy hour for those of us who love maps, also known as geocachers. So, cheers. Welcome, everybody. We have made it to another Friday. All right. That's refreshing. So I am Lisa. Look at Lisa, one of your hosts tonight, and this is our other host.
I'm JD, Kid Vegas 19.
Well, welcome everyone. So we are recording from our home office studio here in Spokane, back in town. It's good to be home, more or less. It's been kind of hot and stormy here. It kind of feels like how it felt over in Ohio, just not quite as muggy. So again, welcome everyone. So tonight our topic is adventure labs, and are they really geocaches? You know, we've had some discussion around that this week, and how they're played and how they've evolved and worked into the geocaching, all the different cache types. I thought it'd be an interesting topic, especially after our experiences at Midwest Geobash and how they were different between the two of us, or at least how we viewed them. And I'd love to hear what other people have to say about that. But before we get into our topic, we do have notes from the field. So we'd love to know what sort of geocaching activities y'all have been up to in the last couple of weeks. And let me open up the chat. There we go.
And I'm going to share the screen.
Oh, and
Uh,
I'll prep for that as
hmm.
well here in a moment. There we go. Okay. So I see we've got folks joining us, other people from Spokane. Hey, Jim. And Michigan, Colorado, um, California, Virginia, Minnesota, Oregon, and Utah. Awesome. Cool. Folks from all around. And Toledo, Ohio. Hey, we were just near there. Good to see you again, Jim. Awesome. So before we get into notes from the field, so that's where we all can share what we've been up to lately, which we'll give everyone 2 minutes to do that. So we all get a chance to share and then move into our regular topic. And but before we go there, I do have a few ground rules just to keep things smoothly running along here in our Mappy hours. So please keep yourself on mute. If you'd like to join in the conversation in the Zoom room, just raise your hand. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, YouTube friends and family, JD is Kid Vegas 19 is monitoring that. And so just type in your comments right there, and then he will bring it into the conversation. And we'll go ahead and call on folks as you raise your hand. However, we know as we get into our main topic, perhaps you might have something that you want to share that's pertinent, or if you can answer a question for somebody, just wave at the screen, and we'll call you out of order if that seems to make sense to help the conversation moving along. Let's see. Keep everything family friendly. Assume that there might be kids with us here in the room. This is live streaming to our YouTube channel at Cash Advance, and eventually it will work its way into our Mappy Hour. And yes, Scott, you caught me. I am way behind. Yeah, on getting things uploaded to our Mappy Hour Hub, which also feeds our AI, which is the Cache GPT, which all of our Mappy Hour topics and conversation, add to that wealth of knowledge that our AI has there or will eventually. Unfortunately, that broke when the Facebook part broke, and so things don't automatically update like they did before. So I need to go in and manually get caught up. Um, so I think we're pretty much. Oh, and the other rule, no sports spoilers. We're sports fans. Luckily, both of our games aren't starting until after 7 tonight, after we will be wrapping up Mappy Hour.
So basically, our time zone is in the past,
Yeah.
and most of your time zone is in the future.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so tell me what the Powerball numbers are.
Yeah, that,
That's allowable.
yeah, for sure. Sports scores, no. That is one of our other passions. All right, well, I see we've got a bunch of hands have been
Yeah.
flying up already. So I think we're ready to jump into our notes from the field. So what have y'all been up to? So we'll start off with Robert, then we'll go to Starcacher, Melissa, and then Chris, Hiking Seal.
All right. Well, I think I'll get off with the big elephant in the room. I was a little disappointed in Geocaching's decision to get rid of the visit all button in the trackable section. That made things from where it normally takes me like 5, 10 minutes to finish logging caches to now with having to individually visit every single trackable into the cache that I found for the day. I have to do it individually, and that takes me between an hour to 2 hours now. So it's a longer of a task for me to do. So we'll just see how that works out. Maybe if enough complaints turn around, maybe they'll reverse that decision, but we shall see. I volunteered for my first block party down here in Colorado, so I'm going to be volunteering for that event for the first time. So that will be fun. And I finished out July with over 108 geocaches found.
Wow.
All right, good work. Yeah, I definitely had seen something on some posts around the visit all for your trackables. And yeah, that seems strange that it just disappeared, huh? Or they did away with it on
Yeah,
purpose.
apparently there were some bad apples involved who were maybe taking trackables and having them visit caches that they hadn't found and maybe were like overseas and all that, trying to get them thousands of miles. But it really inconvenienced us who basically are truthfully geocaching and have trackables that in our personal collection and that we have picked up that we want to visit. And it
Mhm.
just takes way longer. It's an inconvenience to have to click individually each one.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Why is it always the few that abuse things, the armchair travelers that mess it up for the rest of us that are wanting to do something legitimately? So that's frustrating.
Just quickly, if I could get in for the topic before 7:30, that would also be great. But
Yep.
if not, that's okay.
Okay, we'll call on you first when we finish notes from the field, for
All right,
sure.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, let's move along. I think it was Jim Starcasher next.
Yeah.
Okay, well, uh, obviously, let me first of all say that it's nice being on this meeting again because I haven't been on this meeting since sometime in June, I think was the last time I've been part of this. One because of either the third, 4th of July issue because that was firework thing, or I was at Cedar Point, which as we discussed at Midwest Trio Bash, it's my time where a lot of times on my Fridays I'm at the amusement park. So,
Exactly.
so anyways, I'm joining the meeting here, but obviously one of the big things was I just attended Midwest Geo Bash last week, and so that was a fun time. And tomorrow I'm going to the MIGO camp. I forget what do they call that thing
Hmm.
up in Michigan. I'm going to go there just for the one day. I'm not going to do all the other days that they're doing. I'm just going up one day, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. But one of the interesting things that happened at Midwest Geo Bash is, of course, we had our normal storms that we often get, and Saturday afternoon there was a really big windstorm that came through and with a lot of wind. And I was in my tent at the time, and the tent was like leaning. So for about 10 minutes, I was actually in the tent pushing against the western wall against the strong wind so that the tent didn't, you know, get too damaged. And so that was an interesting thing. I don't know what would have happened if I wasn't there. Hopefully, it would have held up against the wind, but I don't know. There's a lot of tents, a lot of stuff got ruined during that big windstorm. So
Hmm.
whatever. uh, but the other big thing I wanted to mention is 2 weeks ago, uh, one of the area geocachers is doing things where he's doing a series of CETOs with different DT ratings. And 2 weeks ago, he had a Cedo with a 5 terrain, one difficulty, 5 terrain rating. And once I saw that, I had to do that because that T5 D1 was my only blank spot on my Fizzy chart. So because of that Cedo, I now have my first round of Fizzy done. So
Congratulations.
so that's the big things. So the rest I'll have my comments in the regular section. So
Okay.
Okay, very good. Well, it's good to see you again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it
We
was
got Melissa, Chris, and then Scott.
Scott. Yep.
Hello, I'm back also. I had a successful trip to Nova Scotia. On the way there, I got the oldest and cache odyssey in New Jersey, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. And I did get the oldest in Canada, which is in Nova Scotia. And on the way home, I got Maine, New Hampshire, and New York for the Cache Odyssey and oldest. So I had a very successful trip.
Yeah.
And then got to see you guys in Ohio
Yep.
and took my 7-year-old grandson on his first cache event, Odyssey, and he had a blast. He's already asking to go back next year. And we're having a family trip next week. And he says, do I get to go caching with grandma again?
Oh, good, good. So we didn't ruin them.
I've got a convert. And yes, that lovely storm on Saturday, we were sitting in a restaurant eating, and we came back to the wind had pushed the one side of our tent, and we had left the window flap open just a little for venting. And so half the tent was soaked on the inside.
Hmm.
So we ended up in a hotel that night.
Mhm. Well, you
But
lasted longer
that
than
did
we
not dampen the spirits at all.
Good. Oof, yeah, it was fun to see you. It was fun to see all you guys that were there
Mhm.
at Wassian at the Midwest Geobash for sure. Well, Melissa, you lasted longer than we did. We ended up in a hotel.
Well, but you had tent issues.
Yes, we
Now,
did.
between the wind pulling the tent stake up, that really pushed against and
Yeah,
blew the rain in that. It was only open a little bit, but because it blew, it, yeah.
it was coming down hard and
Yep.
sideways. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. Okay, I think we have Chris next and then Scott.
Hey, gang.
Hey.
And Melissa, good to see you here. She didn't talk about her trip before Nova Scotia when she got to hang out with me in Salt Lake City for a little bit.
Wow.
So, wow, I'm not sad that I missed the bash. It sounds like you guys all had a pretty wet time. But hey, you had fun too, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's the important
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, my note from the field is I finally got my big challenge published. I am quite excited about it. Here is the link for it for those who would like to check it out should you happen to swing through Utah. I imagine unless you live here, you're probably not going to be pursuing it, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe yeah, it's an excuse to go visit all the counties in Utah, but it is you have to find 5 types in each of our 29 counties. And I had first attempted to publish it almost exactly a year ago, and they wouldn't let me because not enough people were qualified, and they were worried there were not enough caches, enough variety of caches to support them across all the different counties. So I finally got it up to the reviewer standards, and it just got published this week.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty
Awesome.
psyched.
Yay. That sounds like a tough one, but yeah, I'm glad that you got it through and I wish I lived closer. A nice t-shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I wore that just for you.
Oh, excellent. Good, good, good. Cool. Well, thanks, Chris. Good to see you. I think we've got Scott next.
Hello. So, set some geocaches, found some geocaches, um, worked on Signals Island and did a lot of stuff. Also, if I could share a screen for
Yep.
just a second. Oh, oh darn, I hate it when I do this. Okay, well, anyways, I didn't want to have my screen up that I wanted, so I'm not going to
Mm.
share it. But uh, been tracking how we're doing on the one second, how we've been doing reaching the memories and filling that memory book, and we're not doing well as a community. We're over 1 million behind, a full day behind. Um, so we'll see what happens with that. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about that I've been working on is encouraging people to look at their area for earth caches that have been disabled by GCHQ because the owners have not been active for 5 years. On October 8th or 9th, about 1% of the earth caches in the world are going to be archived. So it really is actually presenting a pretty good opportunity if people will take just a second to go look and see if there's any in their area that are being archived. So you can go into geocaching.com on the computer, do the filtering for earth caches that are disabled, and then when you find them, take a look and see if there's a note from GCHQ that said this has been disabled because of this. Um, and the opportunity that it brings, the most exciting is those people who have wanted to know to set an earth cache, but have been a little hesitant because they don't know an area, they don't know a topic. These that are being archived are earth caches that have a good lesson, and that lesson can can't be duplicated, but it can be revised.
Mhm.
And that's why there's two important things or three important things for people to realize. One, you can't just go and copy paste and say, oh, this is my new Earth cache.
Okay.
You're going to have to do a little research. You're going to have to change it a little bit um, and and make it new.
Mhm.
Um, but and this other thing is you have to have visited it within 2 months of the time that you set it that you created. But August 8th is the day they're going to kind of disappear. So take a look, do that little filtering, see if there's any that you would be interested in picking up and uh, and pick them up. And then the other thing that sometimes for me is also has been an issue is getting landowner permission. And that has been revised. And landowner permission, if it's an area that people can get to, that a geocacher can get to, it's on a trail, it's at an overlook, it's in a parking lot, you don't need landowner permission generally. Generally. Now, I will say check with your GeoAware before you put a whole lot of effort into putting together this Earth cache and make sure that that applies to that Earth cache. But there's going to be some good opportunity to, have new people come in or refresh or old other people who don't have, who want to go ahead and have another Earth cache to refresh the game board with new Earth caches. And it's sad to see them go. But on the other hand, I completely understand if people have not been active for 5 years and they've not been answering the questions, they're not living up to their obligations to have an Earth cache. So
Mhm.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. JNLA says, she'd totally adopt those, but
Mm.
that's your catch 22. That would require the owner to log in, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah, and give it up for adoption. Yeah. So eventually they'll be going away and they can be recreated in a fresh new way.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's
and Jay
really
in LA, which is better to adopt something that's old or to create something that's new? And that could be a topic of discussion in itself. As you know,
Exactly.
I'm I'm a fairly big advocate of refreshing the game board.
well, we should probably revisit this maybe towards the end of September, as we'll be approaching that deadline there.
No,
Uh,
the deadline is is August 9th.
oh, I thought
It's
you said
a
October.
August.
Okay,
I'm sorry, it's
August.
August. It's
August.
August. It's
Okay.
before we meet again.
Okay. So yeah, this is it. This is our chance.
This is our chance.
Yeah. Yeah. And Earth Cache is one of the types I don't have as an owner. And because it was always just so insurmountable. I love geology and it took a lot of geology courses in college, but I didn't want to have to, do a dissertation on it just to get a cache published.
And Lisa, I did look and see that there are five of them are currently disabled in Washington.
Mhm.
Um, I looked at three of them. Two of them are disabled at pretty much at the owner's request, not part of this purging process. But there is at least one that is part of this purge.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to take a look.
Yep,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're
Good
welcome.
PSA. So, did we do any caching the last couple of weeks?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Before we tell,
Yeah.
Houston, Texas Dave has popped in and said hello, gang. And says, yes, that's a nice Utah challenge. I have to put it on my to-do list. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go, Chris. And
Mhm.
then Lori, Seabeck Tribe, Wi-Fi is bad. We did Gilby, had lunch with Tricassius.
Yeah.
We got many Chad caches plus many of JT Coffee and Geocache challenges. I got the North Dakota Cache Odyssey as well.
Good work, Lori. Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
but other than that, she's just like,
Sitting still,
yeah,
doing nothing.
just resting and relaxing. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good to hear from you guys.
I saw pictures on Facebook when I think they were in North Dakota, so I figured they
Mhm.
were heading that way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Funny that both of them were actually on my Facebook Live that I did and YouTube. It was cross-posted earlier this week, so it's good to see them again.
Hmm. Yeah, we did some geocaching. I think probably the most newsworthy, the most noteworthy achievement is you got a first to find the other day.
I did. I did get a first to find. Yeah, I was working away at the home office and this guy texted me and said, "Hey, there's a first to find opportunity." And so I quickly pulled up my email and went, "Oh my goodness, it's walking distance." But I was actually just getting ready to wrap up and head to the warehouse. So I didn't want to take all the time to walk. And it's the first to find. So I hopped in the car and I was first to find. So that was pretty cool.
So tell you what, why don't we can work our Midwest Geobash into the topic
I
as
think we
well.
can.
And so let's let Robert go because we're creeping up
Yeah.
on 4 minutes and
Oh gosh, I
yeah.
wasn't watching the clock. Go ahead, Robert.
Yes, so about the topic AI. I love them. They take you to some cool places and some cool adventures and some cool stuff that you can work with them into like adventures like with what CacheFest does, where they did in their last one where they did the Gilligan's Island crew and you had to go around, ask adventures and get questions out of the story to be able to solve the adventure lab. The two things I dislike about Adventure Labs is I have to borrow someone's smartphone at an event in order to be able to log them.
Mhm.
So for me, with just a GPS unit and a laptop computer, I wish there was a way I could maybe there was a way I could show that my GPS was at the location and then be able to log it onto a laptop that way. I know I'm a small minority in that fact. The other thing I wish that Adventure Labs did was like when you go to like an airport in another state or another country, it enabled you to earn that state's as a find under your geocaching profile icon. Like when you travel to Colorado, it should be when you find an adventure lab in that state, you're in the state under your geocaching profile. So those are the two things I wish, but I do enjoy that Geocaching HQ has also enabled that every few months or so we get a new set of 5 adventure labs that we can put out. That is fantastic in its own because I've enjoyed putting them out for other cachers to find.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's you need your computer to do that. So that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so at least you're on the
Yes.
hiding end of
Yeah.
them, but finding is very difficult. Yeah. And you,
Yeah, I just have to borrow a smartphone from somebody and log in just to be able to log it. So it's just one of those challenges I've had to work around with geocaching, upgrading to the majority of people that have a smartphone. But again, I'm in the minority that doesn't have one. And so I have to borrow them to be able to make the finds.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Hmm.
So it sounds like you're just fine with Adventure Labs being just like geocaches, other than the challenging aspects of it for finds and such.
Yeah, I love them. I love finding them because they get my find rate up. So I enjoy it.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks, Robert. Yeah, we got like a minute for you. Anything else from you while we've got you?
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Well, then, I think we can move into a couple more folks and then we
Yeah.
can talk a little bit, or what? Did you have something?
Well, so I was just reading in the comments. So, Jim Peterson, Big Jim 60, says he got an FTF on Sunday morning at Midwest Geobash.
All right. Good work.
Which one was that?
One of the ones there again.
I guess, yeah. Um,
Cool. Good work. Yeah. We weren't fast enough for any FTFs in there.
yeah. Well,
I kind of had to work.
of course I didn't. Well, Sunday morning.
Mhm.
Of course, when I travel, I don't set my alert notifications to the
Right.
areas we're at. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Now you got to update your home coordinates when you're traveling, and
Mhm.
that can be a challenge to remember to do that, especially when you're moving around a lot.
Well, we got Tom.
We do. We have Tom and then Melissa. So go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so yeah, in order to become a platinum Earth Cache master, I had to get 3 Earth Cache published, and only one of them ever gets found. The other 2 haven't been found in several years. I'll gladly confirm the answers if somebody decides to log it on my other 2. And I don't think we have to clear a whole large area because of mine being where they are. But yeah, my first one is the one that's most popular. It's a crack in the ground. It's out in the middle of the Oregon Outback, so east of Fort Rock. So, and yeah.
Are the other 2 like hard to get to, or are they hard to?
Yeah, sort of hard to get to.
Okay.
Yeah, the second one is only about 4 miles east, but you can't even hardly walk from one to the other.
Okay.
And the other one's on the south side of Paulina Mountain. It's not that hard to get to. I don't know, but nobody seems to want to go get them. He was patterned off of. There was a multi also on the south side of Paulina Mountain that was put in by a volcanologist.
No.
But I sometimes quote him in my Earth Cache notes. And yeah, but yeah. The other thing is, are you going to get over to Idaho and visit the Middle Sister Lookout? I don't
Eventually.
know how long he's going to be there, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's about
That's
a
it.
4-hour drive,
Thank
I
you.
think, last I looked. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
hopefully we'll get a free weekend. for sure. We'd love to get a FTS or to find that cache.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We've got Melissa next.
I I like adventure labs that are done well, that aren't just like a true and false question. Um, there were some really cool ones at Midwest Geobash. Unfortunately, because adventure labs are so phone heavy, the amount of people that were at Bash, my phone wasn't doing them.
Yeah.
So that was very frustrating to have, because I knew the people who had put so much work into these, and the ones we could get to work were very enjoyable, but not being able, when you can't get the phone to open the adventure lab, then you can't be at the space to answer the question, even though you're at the space.
Yeah.
So that was a very frustrating thing. We did manage to finish one Sunday before we left. We didn't even try to finish the second one though, because they were already taking them down. Those were not permanent adventure labs. So
Yeah, those are throwbacks to the early days of Adventure Labs. They lasted
Mhm.
the weekend and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They came and they went. Yeah.
yeah. So but I really enjoyed like adventure labs where you're learning about an area.
Mhm.
Um, and you have to physically go different places and get information that's directly related to that area. So
Hmm.
those I like.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I have definitely learned a lot from a lot of the adventure labs that I've done over the years. Cool. Yeah, that was definitely frustrating at Midwest, the lack of bandwidth, I think, from a couple of the carriers there, specifically AT&T. Um,
Well, and there's a tower right across the street.
yeah, it was
So
just,
it's not the distance to a tower.
yeah,
There's a tower right across the street.
yeah.
And mine actually is off of T-Mobile. We had two of us. One was AT&T and she was getting absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
Mine on T-Mobile, if I kept totally shutting it down and opening it up, but the
Wow.
amount of time it takes to go through all that,
Oh, yeah.
you know. So it was like each stage was over a 10-minute process at the stage just to get it open.
Hmm.
Wondering
And
if
as
they,
hot as it was, that was not,
yeah.
No.
it was hot and I had a 7-year-old.
Yeah, no, yeah,
So
not a good mix.
Wonder if anybody bothered to go to the cell tower to check to make sure it was plugged in.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, Janice, I'm with you. Yeah, not all cell towers service all cell phones. Yeah, I'm T-Mobile and I honestly had no trouble. Um, but I wasn't probably doing it when everybody else
Yeah,
was.
we weren't in the mix,
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
yeah, like that. So,
Yeah, and it
okay.
was definitely a problem in Spangler for a lot of people. I had to loan my phone to a lot of folks so they could the things at my booth. But okay, we've got Scott. Yeah, so you might have some insight on Adventure Labs.
I have a little insight on Adventure Labs, and I'm not going to take up the whole time to do this. But when Scott Burks, and rightfully so, calls me the godfather of Adventure Labs, I take pride in that.
Uh,
Um, I th I'm going to divide this into two things. I'm going to talk about just the normal Adventure Labs, back off, let other people comment, and then talk about GeoArt Adventure Labs. Regular Adventure Labs, absolutely love them. I've mentioned this before, different places. Had an epiphany in Flagstaff as I'm doing one of the Route 66 Adventure Labs at a mansion, and I'm reading the description, which really can add to your enjoyment of Adventure Lab, or even better, read to me and let the phone read the description. And reading the description and learning about this mansion and the history and the architecture and the architect. and then counting windows or something such, and realizing that if this was a geocache, I would be looking for a pill bottle in the split rail fence. And 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 that's why I like Adventure Labs, because if you read the descriptions, if they've done a good job, um, you learn something. You know, many people say geocaching takes me to places I don't know about, I would never know about. Adventure Labs take you to those places and teach you something about it if you'll read the description. Um, I was mentioning to my wife what the topic was going to be. She says, "Oh, well, that's easy for me. Geocaching is boring. Adventure Labs are interesting."
There you go.
Okay.
But I do understand how people say, there's one person who says, more than one person says it's a different game with the same scoreboard. And should it be a different game with separate scoreboards? Um, great topic for discussion. I love that
Mhm.
you brought this up.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it's, I love them. And then I'm going to kind of be quiet and we can talk about geo art later on.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to that for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
You just reminded me of when you were talking about Flagstaff and doing some of the adventure labs. We did one in Winslow at that hotel.
Mhm.
And, had it been a geocache, like you said, we would have just probably found a little pill bottle or something, a fake rock, on the side of the hotel property. But the adventure lab drew us into the hotel and out the back.
Went out the back, yep.
And out the back was the story of the hotel because that's where the train stopped. And sitting on this huge, the entire length of this, I don't know, 100-year-old hacienda, with
Yeah.
the amazing porch that it had, and imagining the people getting off of the steam engines or the trains, and traveling through, just sitting there thinking about that. We never would have had that experience had it not been for that lab
Mhm.
that drew us into and out the back. Um, and that the history there. So I agree. Yeah, for sure. Yes, sir.
Okay, can I go?
Yes, you can.
So, yeah, I was talking to Lisa about this, and as time has gone on, and now it's really come to head, I've become conflicted. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm conflicted about this, and I'm thinking about it, and why am I conflicted about this? Well, at Midwest Geobash, um, they had set up a series of adventure labs that were geo art, and
Mhm.
it was really cool. They did, um, if you the way you looked at it, I'll have you explain it in a bit, but
Okay.
the geo art, it
So he
came
was.
shaped, and I'll let Lisa explain that. But it was right around 500 lab stops.
Yeah.
And people, our nighttime, uh, we're sitting around our where we're camping, talking, and out of a group of 10 or 11 of us, there's three of them, just that's all they're doing is working the phone. They're not partaking in the conversations.
Yeah, they wouldn't turn their
And
volume down. They kept getting that bling, bling.
and and so I made the decision I'm not gonna do them.
Mhm.
Basically, because if I had done all of them, I would have doubled my find rate for this year. And so this year includes my find rate includes adventure labs, right?
Mhm.
And so these were your five your four question or your four different multiple guess type things.
Mhm.
And Lisa did them, and she said she learned a lot.
I did.
Okay, so now I feel bad that for myself that I chose not to do them, and so I missed out on that aspect and missed out on that feature. And so
He looks as high.
yeah, and so I uh okay, what I want to do is somehow, if I were able to, I would back out the Adventure Lab finds out of my account. Okay, I would lose two milestones doing that because I'm sitting at 1,290 lab finds on my stats. Um, but so I'm going to do the next best thing, and we probably talked about it on Mappy, or I could go back and look at the hub and see if we did. But what I did is I started a second account, and that account is going to be used solely for Adventure Labs, ALs. And that way I can, that's my way of sharking the system and getting the best of both worlds. And hopefully someday it will come, something will come along that will allow me to get just geocache finds on my geocache page. And so that being said, what's the difference between an Adventure Lab stop and say a virtual?
Yeah.
Now do I gotta back out virtuals from my
And what about Earth caches?
Yeah, yeah. So there's your slippery slope there. But yeah, then I got to thinking why didn't I start uh why didn't I start a different account when Adventure Labs first came out?
Well, we had no idea where they were going.
So Melissa, you're waving your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Melissa.
Um, the thing with Adventure Labs over all the other types you named is Adventure Labs only give you a smiley. They don't count towards your, like, I happened to do coming home through New York. The one county I was in, I did an adventure lab. It was a cool adventure lab. I saw some really cool places in that town, but that county I don't have
Yeah.
because adventure labs don't give you things like that. Whereas if it was a virtual or earth cache or any of those, it gives you all the things.
Yeah.
So I like your idea of a separate account for the adventure labs because I didn't do the geo art because I'm like, I don't want it just inflating my numbers. And I knew I would learn some stuff from it, but it wasn't taking me somewhere. I was just sitting somewhere doing it and learning something. Whereas I like the adventure labs where I'm actually going to a location, like you said about that Winslow one, and I'm really learning something about the place.
Yeah.
Not not a question I can almost answer anywhere.
Exactly.
That you have to be there to answer the question, not just a multiple choice, which one of these is it? Because you can just click away to get those.
So.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. When that's the reason why when Adventure Labs first came out, I didn't think to start a separate account and do it on that is because they were every last one of them was like that. Oh, you had to like the 10 they had where we had to figure something out, dinosaur or whatever, and do something. Or you had to get out of the car and go look, between a fence and a building,
Be a sign or something.
Exactly. And so it felt a lot like something I earned. Okay, that goes towards my count. The other part that I really don't like about it is you have absolutely no control over when it counts in your stats and geocaching. As soon as you log it, it counts, and now you got to be aware of, I have a milestone I want coming up, and I want a unique icon for it, and oh geez, I just did 5 labs. I can't cache till I find this milestone, right? And so yeah,
Can you go and delete your lab finds,
I don't know. I don't think so.
Scott?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You go into your adventure geocaching labs geocaching. It'll bring up your list of everything you've done. You can delete them.
Okay.
Aha!
Mm,
Aha!
well,
But I would say, JD, do you want to delete all of those old ones that were like geocaches, taking
mhm,
you to interesting places,
right.
or just, and I like your solution of to, you know, it's 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 not, you are making it two games, two different scoreboards
Yeah.
by
Hmm.
creating your own account. So, I applaud
Yeah,
you for that.
I will have to mull that over now
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
um, uh, we have an occasion to stop at an airport every once in a while, and I just don't do those now.
Hmm.
They're no fun.
Yep.
I don't do them.
I own one and I enjoy doing it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Come through Spokane. Be sure to get my adventure lab at the airport. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Got somebody on mute. Oh, there he is.
Country guy.
Got it.
there we
All
go.
right. Found it. Um, Yeah, so for me, I'm more of an equal opportunity geocacher. I can do a power trail all day, until I run out of energy, of course. But or I'm fine doing a 6 mile hike just for one find, or to do maintenance on a cache. I mean, we spent all day. We were going to camp out just to do maintenance on one of my caches that probably didn't really need it, but it hadn't been checked on in a while, so it was due. But so for me, I enjoy both types of labs, and with the ones at Midwest, I learned a lot. I
Hmm.
was able to go back and open them up, and then went back and spend more time reading them. And they have 21 years of history of Bash, and I'd only been to four over the last 12, 13 years. So it caught me up on a lot of the history that I'd missed, and then some things like, oh, I remember that, back from 11, 12 years ago when I was there before. And boy, did I learn a lot about dinosaurs. So for me, I'm fine with that. But yes, it certainly did inflate my numbers in a weird way. It's how do you find, I found 500 in a day, but that was a very long day on the ET highway with the group. Here I was just sitting down. Didn't even have to get up other than, get something to drink. All right, so we've got more hands that have come
Oh, I
up.
got
Oh,
Bay County on
Bay County on YouTube.
yeah, YouTube machine. Saying the smoke from Canada has been horrible on phones. It's been messing with phones everywhere.
Mm,
So,
I
yeah,
can see
there's
how,
that.
how that could definitely be an issue as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
with connectivity and such. All right, so we've got Jim and then Chris.
Okay, well, I in general, in just I'm not really into adventure labs, but I'll go around the town, do the ones that are around town occasionally. I mean, I probably have more than half of them that I haven't done because again, I'm not really into it. But I do like the ones that do take you on a little tour of some place, or takes you to some interesting objects. So I'll do those occasionally. Uh, when I go to a mega, I'll always do well, now they do like 50, they have 50 stops, usually five adventure labs with 10 each. I'll make sure I do all those that are associated with that mega event. Uh, Usually they take you to interesting places, or they take you to some something that they've set up specifically for that adventure lab that well like just like I think Melissa said, and I know you were running into it too, is that by Sunday they were taking all those
Yeah.
things down, so the you might not be able to get it. Which by the way, if you opened up any of the ones and you couldn't do it, let me know because I probably have the answer if you want to finish it if you have it unlocked, but
Hmm?
couldn't get the answer.
We
So
have one.
We have one, so I'll message you on the
Yeah,
yeah,
geocaching
yeah,
yeah,
app.
because I usually try to write down the answers to each of them
yes,
Okay.
when
cool.
I do them. So, but
We'll be in
anyways,
touch.
but anyways, so yeah, like I said, I did all the 50 that were part of the Midwest Geobash, but then as far as those big geo arts, I have never done any of the AI geo arts, and I'm well, I shouldn't say I've never done it. Is the one you were talking about where the history of the Midwest Geobash, which were the ones out on the west side. I think they're gone now because I think they finally disabled those. But last year I did do like the last end of it because what they when they did that they reused Adventure Labs from previous years, and so basically when they set it up, I had already done most of them
Yeah.
with the when they how they were originally done, so I couldn't redo those because they were already done.
Yeah.
But I did finish the new ones. But as far as the big flamingo, I'm like struggling to say, because okay, it's there. I mean, it's 25 miles that way from where I'm at. I mean, I can go. I one first of all, I didn't have time to do it. I mean, I was so busy during the whole thing. I wouldn't have had time to sit down and do all of them then. But I knew, it's 25 miles, so I know they're going to be there for at least a couple years. So I'm still struggling. Do I want to go back over there and I'm not going to do them all at one time, but I could do them over a period of time. Do I want to do that because it's there, you know, but inflate my numbers, which, yeah. So I'm struggling whether I'm going to do those or not. So we'll see. I probably will eventually do them just because they're local, but I'm not going to do it in one day thing. I'll do them over time. Probably. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm struggling. I've never done a AIGOR. Like when I was in Geo Woodstock, I did not do the big one at the rest stop, even though it was I actually slept at that rest stop. So I could have done them,
And
but
Yeah.
no, but I did do it because again, it's just inflating my numbers for no reason,
yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. So, anyways, like I said, the flamingo is gonna be bothering me. Do it or not do it. Do it or not do it. We'll see.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, personal preference too. I know a lot of people that, avoid puzzles.
No, yeah.
They don't do puzzles. They'd rather have a simple find. Some people love doing puzzles and are definitely not going to be going out doing a power trail. Luckily, we have lots of options with geocaching. However, as we discussed, some of these are a little bit different. So I think I should say real quick, you were talking about the flamingo. We've all been talking
Oh
about
yeah.
that. And in the app, the Adventure Lab app, through your profile, if you turn on show other locations, other lab stops locations, you have to turn that on like every time it updates because it defaults to being off. And then when you go into a lab and you're starting to do it, then you see all the other locations and it spelled out something completely different.
Yeah.
It was, I think, mid
MWB and
2005.
25.
Yeah, exclamation.
so it changed it shape shifted the flamingo to something else. That took some thought.
That took a lot of work. I mean, there's so many of the
Yeah.
different labs, and then all the different stops. So, I mean, somebody really worked a hard time getting all that done and then that information out to all those people that set those up. So I was like, ooh, that's really interesting. That part of it was intriguing, but
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't even know how to see that. So,
Well,
all right, we still have some hands up. So, who's next? Is it
Chris is
Chris and then
next.
Scott?
Yeah.
And then,
Hey, so as a player, JD, I think I echo your feelings a lot, and I did not do the one at Geo Woodstock, and I to me, Adventure Labs jumped the shark when, yes, I'm showing my age with that expression, when they came in with multiple choice. And that
Yeah.
really
You're
was
exactly right.
the problem there. And, I hear why they did it because people had problems with accents and diacritical marks and stupid little
Mhm.
typos. And I was even speaking with a lackey who did not realize that capitalization doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They
or
honestly
spaces.
thought it did. And I
Yeah.
was just like, really? You're a lackey and you don't know that? Um,
That's
but it's relatively easy. I am not a developer. I'm a psychologist for those of you who don't know. But I play with code a little bit, and I can write an if statement. Uh, um, I know that it's not that tough, and I have seen. Anybody remember Intercache? Do you guys
Yep.
remember that website from eons ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could that website was set up so that it would test for critical letters. It was a fuzzy match, so it's just critical letters. Oh, I'll have to come find it, Jim. I'm
Yep,
curious.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't think it would have been that hard for them to code, and that would have kept the quality of Adventure Labs up rather than going to multiple choice. And then my experience as an owner, and I know I've talked about this with Scott, and I'm sure he has some strong feelings about this. Um, people, as the multiple choice answers came along, lab caches, those of us who put effort into our labs. I had a wonderful adventure, and I think you guys actually did it when you were here for the Outdoor Rec show one time, or at least part of it, where films that had been filmed in Salt Lake, I'd gotten a clip of the film, and if you stood at the coordinates, you
Mhm.
could see like what was happening in the film, and you could watch the film when you were doing the question, and then you had to answer a question about the area. And I put a lot of effort in that. It sounds like a same thing that somebody did at Midwest Geobash. Um, and most people were pretty pleased with it, but it was spread out all over the Salt Lake Valley. So like you guys, you didn't get to do all of it because it was so spread out, and people would complain
Yeah.
and complain about this and that. I had a set at the airport, at the Salt Lake airport, that people would complain about because they weren't just simple little multiple choice. That's you had to walk. Yeah, I think you guys did it again on
Yeah.
another trip while you were here. And in fact, HQ shut that one down because of a complaint because it was inside security. You can't, and they have now changed the guidelines to specifically disallow adventure labs that can only be done inside security. They have to be able to be done from outside of security. And I'm just like, their reasoning is that they're trying to get new players. And I want John Stanley Mountain Bike to give us stats on that. How many people really come to geocaching as a game through Adventure Labs? I would really love to know the answer to that. Because I lost my airport labs out of it, and I'm so done with the complaints and everything. I've actually shut down all my labs, and I'm out of the lab owner game right now. So I'm feeling a little bit bitter and grumpy, so I apologize for raining on everybody's parade. I always look at Scott because I know he's got some wonderfully complicated adventure labs out there that I love, and he is Mr. Positivity. So thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. And I try to emulate you.
Yin and yang. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be interesting to know. I
Mhm.
do have a call coming up with HQ, and I have asked for some demographics and statistics and analytic information. So maybe I can
Mhm.
work that into the conversation.
And then just couple, what, 5 years ago, we did a Spokane Geo coin challenge just out of lab caches.
Well, Upsall Labs.
And so I had all of the contributors send me, the stats you can download,
Mhm.
and it was telling right away. It just the closer together the five stops were the most hit and the most completed of the adventure labs.
Mhm.
And it just as the spots widened out, the less and less and less and less it got played.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It just
Yeah.
if you have your five stops within, you
Walking
know,
distance,
yeah,
ideally.
1,000 square feet, man, people love that.
Mhm.
So that's why the Angry 8 Ball is within 1,000 square feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Mhm.
that's just that data just hit me, it just jumped out.
Yeah.
Just well, that's just weird.
Yeah. And that explains because I had a lab involved with that. My lab stops were from each of our previous years of our coin challenge and geo tours, different stops that highlighted those. And that was pretty spread out across the
Mhm.
city, and it hardly got found at all. And I'm looking forward to repurposing that because you can repurpose your lab stops like we have seen at Midwest Geobash. Um, we were talking earlier about how we came back. Some of us that had been there last year came back this year, and we found we already done a bunch of them. Once you found one, you have found those stops, even if though it's been repurposed or even moved across the world. That is still is a found that you
You are
can't.
very efficient.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I can't do it again. Can't double dip like we used to be able to on geocaches 20 years ago. Could find them multiple times.
So we should jump
Yeah.
to Scott and
And
then
then Ken.
Ken.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, this should be an interesting conflict of or different commerce, different perspectives. You know, one of my perspectives about geocaching is there are so many aspects of geocaching. That's what makes geocaching so interesting to a wide variety of people. And this is one of them that definitely attracts people who are traveling miles and miles to sit in that rest stop and get 600, and people who visit the rest stop and don't do them. Um, but that's what makes the game. And, and I'm not going to criticize anybody who does the game differently than me. And,
Mhm.
go out and do the game the way you want. Um, one thing that I've gotten two suggestions for these um, rest stop, and one is to make them so they're not multiple choice, and or make them. There's two solutions. Craig C. Michel, his solution is let them let GCHQ come up where you have a delay. If you get a wrong answer, you got 30 seconds before you can answer it again. If you get the second one wrong, it's a minute before you can answer it again. And if you get the third one wrong, it's 5 minutes before you can answer it again. My solution is to bring it into the geocachers world and don't make a multiple choice. Make them so that the answer is in the description. So they at least have to look through the description and
Mhm.
learn something. As far as geo art, you know, it obviously is not the intent of GCHQ. Their philosophy is to have people have adventures, and sitting in a rest stop is not having an adventure. Now, I
Hopefully.
would be really critical, more critical, if I didn't own three different adventure labs that are part of GeoArts. Own one in Nebraska, own one
Mhm.
in Oklahoma, and own one in San Diego. And I would also be very critical, more critical, if I hadn't done about 300 of them because I'm trying to reach a particular goal before the end of the year, and I can do that in a parking lot. Um, Kind of comparing them with power trails
Yep.
Mhm.
because that's kind of comparable. But a power trail, went out one day because I was trying to reach a particular milestone by a certain day, went out with friends and spent 8 hours getting 400 uh, power on a power trail.
Yep.
I could sit in a parking lot and get,
Mhm.
apparently 400
Yep.
in an hour or two. Um,
Yeah.
so, you know,
And probably have fun doing it if they're set up like the ones at Midwest Geobash,
Yeah. If
right?
all
yeah.
the answers were
Yeah.
in the description, even though they were multiple choice, all the answers were in the description.
Oh, okay. So, okay,
Mhm.
very good. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
It
so
was.
all the answers are in the description, and
Yep.
I think that makes a huge difference. Make people, encourage people. Obviously, you can't make them. They could just sit there and punch one, two, three, four,
Yeah.
but encourage people to read
Mhm.
read the read
Yep.
the descriptions. So, so like I said, yeah, on one hand, I know that it is completely opposite of what GCHQ intended geocaching to be, as power trails are completely opposite of what GCHQ intended Adventures or geocaching to be. But who bought this in? It wasn't GCHQ. It was geocachers.
Yeah.
Geocachers bought in the power trails. Geocachers have bought in the geo art, Adventure Lab geo art. So, so, you
Yeah,
know,
it's just evolution of, how people look at different ways to play the game and then what sticks and then obviously guidelines and things have to be built around it. It
right.
makes me think back to the original ALs, which was additional logging requirements, ALRs,
Yeah.
which is the challenge, basically. You needed to have done something before you could find the cache. And those were banned 20 years ago or so. I don't remember the timeline. But then they evolved into challenges, and then challenges were put on hold, and then we have a whole new way to do them because we've evolved. The game has evolved and grown, and thankfully, the PTBs, the powers that be, do pay attention to the community and try to make it work. Yeah.
And it's the community who's kind of driving the sport.
Yeah.
A while ago, I had a conversation with myself on why does the community feel so entitled to give their opinions and make their criticisms and be so input. And the reason is we are the game.
Yeah.
We are the hiders. We are the creators. We are the game. If not for us, the game doesn't exist. And I would also say if the game was if the game was as it was 25 years ago, that involved large containers out on trails, and that was the game would be gone.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to get off my little soapbox and thank you very
I'm
much.
with you though. Yeah. So Ken has been waiting
Yeah.
patiently. So Ken, what are your thoughts?
Well, JD, you're kind of scaring me because I'm an early adopter on this thing because as I stated in the chat, when ALs lost their location, aka their GPX file,
Mhm.
that is when I formed the new account because they were no longer statable in most of the tools.
Yeah.
When you could pull a GPX file for them, which the original iteration of the ALs, when it was a website-based thing, you could pull the GPX file. It made it where they had a location, they had some piece that at least the main stat programs played with at the time. But I got a little bit uncomfortable just because they were on the edge of being statable. But it does make me nervous that I am an early adopter on something. Because I have seen more and more people that are forming their own accounts for lab cache noting.
Mhm.
I Everybody looked at me very strange a couple years ago when I said that I started on another one. Somebody said something, I showed them that, and two other people in a group of 50 said, well, I do mine on a separate account now too. And uh my first instinct when I saw the Adventure Lab pop up with the flamingo that did it, other than very cool, that they made it a geo art within a geo art, which
Yeah.
took a lot. I said, well, let's go all out on this. We need to sit there and make a giant hey geo art or a geo art with a thumbs up. And then when it transforms, it turns into a giant Fonzie on a pair of water skis with a shark jumping. Let's just
Yeah, there we go.
5,000 caches. If you need
Jumps.
to add more detail, you make the A bigger, you add some clouds, let's just go for it, because I feel like if you're going to go for it, run full bore. My experiences are a lot like what Hiking Steel had said, though, unfortunately, is I put a lot of effort into the labs that I have placed. And in many cases, the multiple choices have made ratings on mine go down. People are saying they're unnecessarily complicated because they have to spell out an answer that, and I'm not, I mean, it's literally the painting in front of you says blank, this, or something. So you just have to copy. There's whatever. A lot of people, it's just too complicated. Why don't you make this multiple choice for me? And that, when you sit there and put more effort into it, and then you're getting that feedback now, is discouraging. I mean, I'll still put them out because people like them. It's also something I've noticed too is the amount of people that are not doing the bonus caches off of them anymore. Going through Midwest GeoBash, I am an hour and 10 minutes away from Bash's location. I got a lot of incoming traffic. I have an adventure lab that is sequential. It is a storyline of a local transportation company. It started out as a horse and buggy manufacturer, moved into automotive briefly before a tragic accident, but it sits there and walks you through their location, some of the businesses it helped start, an existing one of the deal buggies and sleighs that are still viewable publicly, one or two buggies in existence, and then walks you around to where they saved an old barn that had an advertising billboard on it and put it under shelter behind the downtown. At the end, and I'm skirting a little on the some of the guideline here, but it does say that it sits there and says the adventure lab can be found at these coordinates or at the picture below, which is where you are standing, and there is a giant red circle with arrows pointing to a door that is the old dumpster door for the business the building's on. I had about 16 people come through to find that lab. Not a one of them found the bonus cache, and they, to answer it, would be standing within 10 foot of the door. And that stat kind of shocked me a bit. And it's something and that's just me, and I shouldn't even say it, that's 15 reviewers that were left, not necessarily 15 finders. So it could well be 40 finders or whatever. That one shocked me a little bit, but to see the drop off of the bonuses, because when these first came out, if you didn't have a bonus, people hated you for it. So
Mhm.
that was a bit of a shock on it. But to leave this on a lighter note, I think I figured out what it is that makes me uncomfortable vlogging or with adventure labs. It promotes something I am not comfortable and not good at in a general sense, and that is logging my caches in a timely and speedy manner.
Okay.
And for those of you who are newer on the call, I am still on my way to Woodstock last year. So I have a couple caches that I gotta get to in Bryce per Scott's guidance, because there's two of the Earth caches in Bryce that are being in the locks coming up on archive. So I have to hurry and try and log 12 caches, and I hope I can do that in a week. So I don't lose those very cool Earth caches. But I think that's what it is that with Earth caches is they make me log in a timely fashion, and I can't get behind that.
Yeah, because that could mess up with your milestones, right? If that's something that you track too, because you
Well,
have to do
I
the adventure labs when you
yeah,
need.
they would self-correct themselves as I log behind them.
Okay.
Um, I'm coming up on 20,000, and I really have to do some work now because I think my find count is like 18.7, 18.8 is what shows on gc.com. I'm actually very close to 20,000. Um,
Yeah.
and that means I have to go through and look at my drafts and try and figure out where is 20,000, because I really feel that is actually a big milestone I should try and make something special for. So that is one that's kind of a little bit tearing on me, because I want to do something neat for that milestone, and I just don't have time to log because I'd rather find.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's definitely cachers out there that do just find them and they're not logging them. And yeah, how do adventure labs work into that
Mm-hmm.
potentially? Cool. Well, thank you. That was some really interesting things to think about. Jim, Star Cacher?
Yeah, I was just checking the Adventure Lab. app, and it looks like they actually closed out most of the Midwest Geobash's uh, Adventure Labs. The only one that's is still open is Driven to Extinction. So if the one answer that you need is in Driven to Extinction, I can give you the answer. But if it's the other ones, you won't be able to. I don't think you can go back to it, even if you opened it. I think once they close it, I don't think you can go back to it. I think.
Once they're gone, I believe. I think that is the one.
It's the one that we need. So when we're done here, I'll message.
Right, whatever. I just wanted to mention that I just
Okay.
checked it. It looks like they actually closed the Adventure Labs of most of them, that other than the Flamingo
Okay.
and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. So, oh well, whatever.
Well, cool. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that is the one that we need. Something about a chicken or little arms or something.
And what the two choices or what was a 2-word phrase the chicken said, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll reach out. Cool. Yeah. Well, gosh, guys, this has been a good topic.
Okay.
Mhm.
Back to notes from the field.
Oh, yeah.
So I spent most of my Midwest Geobash apparently hunting down Mike and trying to run him over with either my car or the golf cart. So that's yes.
Really? Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, so got to see Mike quite often and got to see his scooter, which is awesome. That thing is, man, that's like an off-road rig that's, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice. So, yeah, it was good to see Mike. It was good to see Melissa, everybody else. Um,
You know,
I
Bob
got
and
to,
oh, go
Bob
ahead.
and Nancy, I got to go out and play. I got to concentrate on the highly favorited in town of Wasion, some really cool ones,
Mhm.
and then the next day continued on the size of large,
Mhm.
and we just cleaned out the planet treasures, boom, because everything was large that was a large size that
Well,
we
you
had.
did. I was working when you were doing all that.
So yeah, it was a fun trip that way. The leaky tent was an adventure lab all to itself, and
Definitely was an adventure. It was a loner. Yeah,
it gave it the old junior college try, but it was too old.
it
Yeah.
didn't make the first storm, so we knew there were more storms coming. So we ended up, yeah, at a hotel, which actually was kind of nice. But we had a golf cart, and so we were pretty much on site, other than if we were sleeping elsewhere. So that was a lot of fun. One thing that just popped into my mind, speaking of Midwest Geobash, they do the poker run, which is commercial locations, folks, different businesses buy, I don't know, I don't know how they arrange it, but
It's very similar to Geocoin Challenge.
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
The country roads one,
Mhm.
things we do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So that brought you to all of these different locations, and those were lab stops. And, I remember many years ago when coin challenges came out and all the caches published at once, and then you had to go get the GPX file.
Yep. Yes, it did.
And there'd be, stations of people with all the different cords trying to upload all the GPX files so you were ready to go to find them. But with Adventure Labs, voila, they were there. You open up the app and away you go. So much easier as a way to manage something like that as an adventure,
Mhm.
because I think it was a 10 stop.
It was 10 stops and you
And
needed
seven.
stickers.
Seven of them had stickers, and then 3 more to just finish it out if you were a completer.
And then if you would read the description, it would say this stop doesn't require a sticker.
If you read the description, you could skip it if you wanted to, if you were pressed for time, like some of us that had to work. So
See you, Enrique.
that was, oh yeah, for sure. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, we are way past time, I think. Yeah, drinks were half price quite a while ago.
No,
That
full
stopped
price.
for full price now. Yeah, sorry guys. Be sure to tip your wait staff.
So Big Jim 60 had the 10th best hand in the poker run. There was like over 700 that were turned in, I think. Yeah.
I believe
If I
so.
remember what they said. Yeah.
There were a lot, and yeah. Bob and Nancy helped us as well. We caravaned with
Trish did it.
them, and Trish, you did it. Awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Um, Bob and Nancy are in Europe with
Yeah.
Peach and Skyhawker.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was
And,
gonna mention that. I knew they didn't think they were gonna be able to make it because it's probably about 3 a.m. in the morning their time, I think.
I think they just didn't want to try to do the time zone math. That's my guess.
There's that, yeah. Yeah, it was great to see them.
Mhm.
They definitely facilitated us coming
Oh,
and
yeah.
helped us out in so many ways. A couple of folks did. We actually went through 2 tents. It was 2 tents.
Yeah, it was just 2 tenths, so we got a hotel.
Yeah, exactly. So tonight is sponsored by my real podcast, Cash Like a Girl. I now have merch up on the website as well. So you can go get t-shirts and stickers currently that we have on our Cash Like a Girl podcast. So, it's funny, over the years, people have thought of Mappy Hour as a podcast, and in a way, I guess it is. But the Cash Like a Girl is a true podcast on podcast platforms. So be sure to check that out, and I'll be adding more to it hopefully soon. Some more interviews that I've got a couple already recorded. I just got to get them finished, and more that I'll be getting to more recording. So excited about that.
So Zoe showed up. That means it's
Oh.
pet check.
Yeah.
And
So
yep.
he
Hilo
came and
he
went.
bailed.
Yeah, he didn't have patience.
So I think we answered. So Trish says, this is why they haven't got the FTFs in my area. She set out some new hides but they're gone. Bob and Nancy.
Oh, yeah, that would be why. Oh, there's some stickers. Awesome.
Ah,
Yeah, those are the stickers that are on the website. Cool. You got a good handful. Yeah, we had a lot of those made up and we handed out a lot at Bash, and then they're available for purchase now. So
Yeah, these were left on a table. I was in the cleanup crew at Spangler, and so these were left on a table, so I just grabbed them all.
awesome. Great. Well, hand them out to anybody you think that would enjoy them.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna put it in caches.
there you go.
But yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you.
I can't do that, but if you would, that'd be great. Yeah. I can't self-promote, but they're really good vinyl. I actually used one to cover up our suitcase got skewered 2 trips ago, and just keeping a nice vinyl sticker over that skewer keeps everything dry inside, which is important in Bash. Wow, Zoe is 19 now.
19.
I
Oh
was
my
gonna
goodness.
ask. Wow, she's looking good. Right, yeah, Hilo is right behind. He's 17, so yeah. Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. This was great. I think Scott, you mentioned topic for next time
The
around
button, the visit all button.
visit all and travel bugs. So yeah, I think that's a good topic for trackables and moving trackables. I think we can definitely do that in 2 weeks. So cool. If you have any other ideas for topics, always feel free to reach out to me and we can work them into the mix. All right, guys. Well, thanks again. Happy caching, everybody, and have a great couple of weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Same cache time, same cache channel. Cheers, everybody.